Peace, peace. Welcome to the show. This right here is Humble Beginnings, where we simply live it through. I am your host, KJ. Oh man, I think we got a good show tonight. We're gonna dive into a concept, called marriage. We're gonna talk about the psychology of marriage, and we're gonna dive into this thing, man. We about to figure out, man, is this thing even worth it? So we gonna just get into it, man. But of course, man, I can't run my joints, man, without having my team with me, man. I move with such an amazing team of people who, I really cherish their thoughts and opinions. So first up, I need to bring in. I got my boy Marshall. What's going on with you, man? You on mute too, brother. Got my girl Caprice rocking with me. What's going on with you? I'm seeing everybody's a delay. Got my girl Izzy rocking. There we go. Got my boy Matty B rocking with me all the time, holding it down. He's coming in. And of course, got my boy Kev C rocking with me as well.
All
right. Hi everybody. These screens look a little black. I'm taking these people so long.
You're gonna have to unmute too, Izzy.
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. I'm ready. I'm ready for conversation.
Cool. How y'all day was, man? Everybody all right?
Yeah, the day was good.
I'm doing great myself, brother.
This Thursday ain't been too stressful on y'all, was it?
Nah, never stressful.
It was
never
a chill day.
Okay, cool. That's I just like to make sure everybody all right. Make sure we got our hearts and our minds and our spirits ready for the night, All right. So we're gonna go ahead and just kick this thing right on off. So since we're talking about the psychology of marriage, I think some people, when they hear the term marriage, they automatically run with a particular idea in their mind. But we gotta break this thing down first, man. We gotta see what is what first before we start diving in about what a good one look like, a bad one look like, successfulness or whatever may have you. First thing we gotta talk about is what is marriage? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is this thing called marriage? You know what I'm saying? From the perspective of the people, because everybody got different views and ideas of what this thing is. So we need to know first, man, what is marriage? And I think we're gonna start this thing. I'm gonna start with my ladies first. So when y'all hear this word marriage, what is it that come to y'all mind? What is marriage? Izzy, talk to me.
Well, I think marriage is basically a relationship between you and your partner and the government. I don't think it's really anything more than like something that's like legally binding. And yeah, that's pretty much like the difference between like when you're dating and like, marriage. It's just like really like now you are including the government in your relationship.
Okay. As you say, the marriage is when you you bring the government into your affairs. Okay, cool. Caprice, talk to me. What is marriage?
A union.
It's a union? Just that simple?
Yep.
Okay. Matt, talk to me, man. What is marriage, man?
I say it's a commitment from two people to do something greater than what you would be able to do individually. Accomplish great things, experience this life together.
Okay. Marshall, talk to me, man. What is marriage, man? When you, I ain't got to ask you when you hear marriage, man. You married. So what is marriage, man? Talk to me.
Marriage is like a partnership. Whatever you lack, the other person, can help you with your flaws and stuff. It is what it is. I mean, I think marriage is one of the things what you make it. But for me, it's more so like a partnership.
Okay. My man said he said his marriage is an exchange for strengths and weaknesses within the people. Okay. KFC, what's up, man? What is marriage, man?
Marriage is a commitment and the choice to make your relationship permanent.
Permanent. That's an interesting word.
That's an interesting word.
Yeah, permanent is an interesting word, man. These cats be out
I
here
know
getting
it.
divorced.
I know it is.
Okay,
That's why I
okay,
say
okay,
it's a commitment to.
okay. Cool. So I mean, I agree. I believe that marriage is a commitment. I think I can echo what Marshall said. I believe that it is one of those things where we challenge the strengths and the weakness between each other. I believe it's one of those things where you got to dive into to understand the symbolism of each other. I believe that if you walk with an independent mind, marriage is not for you. I believe marriage is for people who understand that, or they understand and they're willing to be like, yo, I'm willing to depend on you as well as you able to depend on me. I think marriage is for people who understand or willing to work as teams. You know what I'm saying? So it's just that simple. I think that's all it is. You making a decision, say, yo, I want to play as a team. I don't want to be alone. I don't want to, be a lone wolf. I want to run with a pack almost. All right. So we're talking about this marriage. Is marriage today much different from the marriages of yesteryear? Marriage today, is it much different from the marriages of yesteryear? And I'm posing this question simply because I know people like to run a lot of time comparisons when they talk about marriage or whatever may have you. They love to quote back to the grandparents and great grandparents and everything like that. So I want to know, man, is marriage any different from the marriages of yesteryear? KFC, open this thing up, man. Talk to me, man. What you think?
It's completely different, but it's objective. It's subjective, so from marriage to marriage, person to person. But in totality, the ideal of marriage now compared to before is completely different. Roles are different, thoughts, mentality on it, the reasons why people get married is different. The reasons why people get divorced is all different.
Okay. Caprice, talk to me. What you think? The marriages of today, you think they different? They differentiate themselves from the ones from yesteryear?
Yeah, definitely different.
There we go.
I Caprice.
Circumstance. What am I?
Wait. You got that fan thing going on. Izzy, talk to me, man. Talk to me while Priest get it together.
Well, I definitely do think it's way different. And I think one of the main differences is that basically, like, I feel like we are now having the choice to like marry for like love. Which is like a kind of like a new concept that we've adopted. And back then I think we married for basically like, stability, financial stability. And, back then we also like, we basically needed, it was almost like, I don't want to say like caveman style, but like, we needed to know like who was able to like bring home the bacon, like who was able to protect us, like, when nights got cold, we needed someone to start the fire. So, it was really for like a protection and survival standpoint. Now it's shifted to like more so like, do I love you? Are you, in this for the long haul? So yeah, like, it's a little bit more free choice. And I think just because of that, love can be an unstable thing. I love you one day and I hate you the other. So I think that's why, maybe like the divorce rate has gone like side on side with that.
Okay. Marshall, talk to me, man. You think these marriages are different from yesteryear?
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. Where I see it, I think back then, I think from now, people not necessarily taking it anymore. Stuff that people would put up with back then. I guess like looking at like auntie, aunt, uncle era. Like they're way more quicker to get divorced. For anything. So yeah.
Cool. Matty B, talk to me, man. You think these marriages are different from yesteryear?
Yeah, absolutely. Izzy kind of took a lot of my answers, but I'm gonna second what she said, and I'm also say the one of the newer things I definitely recognize is just one person making a decision. That's the person getting married more so than the elders and the family of that person having more of a input on how that would go. And the method of you having to prove yourself to get married is a lot different as well. And back then, if someone got a divorce or a woman was having issues, it shamed the whole family. So it was definitely more consequences and responsibilities going into it more. So now it's like just one person making a decision. It's not even no shame even on that, even apply to that one person if they don't want to, stay married or anything anymore. So it's definitely a big change in marriages.
So yeah, so I would say I definitely agree. I definitely agree that marriages are different. I think the steps going into marriages are different from yesteryear. I think we don't. I think like what Matt said. I think family is not as involved as family used to be. But then again, the homes are more broken than they used to be. So I think the operations that typically come within these situations are a lot different. But at the same time, though, I think there is a little bit more honesty within it as well, though. Like I think people are more who they are now versus letting the circumstances control them. You know what I'm saying? I think the number one thing that's the big difference is circumstances. I think we try to channel too many things upon like the people, but not realizing that circumstances is also what made a lot of those situations what they were. I think we've been alleviated from certain circumstances, so that definitely changed the way that we operate within this thing that we call marriage. So, but I definitely agree. I definitely think that it's definitely different, of course. Uh, so when walking into marriage, how important is the ceremonial process? What y'all think? Like, the whole, wedding itself, the standing in front of the ordained minister or whatever may have you, like this process, this reception, all this stuff. How important do y'all believe, or to y'all more so, are the ceremonials?
Hey, can I ask a question before you get to that?
Oh yes, sir, most definitely.
We talk about the difference. Is it different in a good way or a bad way?
Well, if you asking me, I would say neither, because the goods and bads don't exist in my realm. I tell people all the time, I'm not the moral dude. Goods and bads are subjective. I think it just depends on how you tend to hold yourself to it. So if I had to answer your question, I don't think it's neither good or bad. I think it's I would say I think it's good for people being able to tap into whom they are. Like I think people are a lot more honest. That's why a lot of people run when they realize that it's not for them. I think that the years before, I think a lot of people made these decisions and they just stuck with them just because they feel they were obligated to stuck with them. I believe there were a lot of unhappy people. So when we talk about good or bad in that way, I think a lot more people were actually unhappy. You know what I'm saying? So I guess that would be bad, I guess, if you consider it to walk that path. But then I would say because it was a lot more family oriented, some people would say it's good. But then I guess if you're not a family oriented person, I guess you wouldn't even consider that to be good. So that's how I view it. But I guess the rest of y'all have to answer. I don't believe in these subjective terms too much. So Matt, what you think?
I kind of agree with what you said. I would say I think it definitely was better for raising of children, though. It probably was definitely, it's subjective based on the people in it, because probably personally, some people may have had great experience, some people may have had traumatic experience in a relationship. A lot of things were happening in those marriages that is unspoken of, even beatings and all kind of stuff was going on in those marriages. But I think the raising of a kid, the family unit, the community, it definitely was better in that aspect. Because even if one person may have not been happy, overall, it was a benefit to the overall picture of community.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else?
I just read a study yesterday that said that wives were happier in marriages before the 80s than they are now.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I agree with that. I definitely think a lot of people have been tricked to think that you won't be mad, because a lot of people look at those minor people, the minor instances that they highlight of women that weren't happy, that were beaten and stuff, and you got these new women now. I think they look at marriage as, those stories they heard of, oh my God, it's slavery, it's this, is that. When you look, like how you said, you look at those women at those times. A lot of those women were happy not having to work, but now it's like you shame if you're not working. A lot of housewives today, they feel shame for not working. They get clowned by other women as being lazy a lot of times. So, but personally, they're happy, but it's made it look like they won't be happy. So a lot of people don't even attempt it or go into it with the wrong perception of what a housewife really is.
Understood, understood. So, the ceremonials, how important are these things? Izzy, talk to me.
I can see the importance on I guess like both ends of the spectrums. I think like, it's important for like, more so like, the family. Like sometimes like it's important in the sense where like, that's all they see the marriage as, this whole ceremony. Sometimes people aren't able to envision like what a marriage actually is after the fact. But like, I think like the celebration is important, just really for like, the family and like, I guess like, celebrating like, I guess like the grandiose aspect of like what marriage is. But at the other end of the spectrum, I think smaller weddings might tend to like last a little bit longer. I mean, just because like I feel like it's not really for everybody else, it's really for you guys, so it's more intimate setting. You're able to really like, let your guard down. And I feel like, a lot of people who have like, these big celebration of a wedding, they're I feel like they're really kind of forced to like, they're kind of like, once the venue set, once like the big dress is bought, once like, all like the, the food selections are chosen and everything, they kind of feel like they're like cornered and forced into like, saying certain things and like doing certain things. So, I feel like it creates like an unnecessary pressure in the marriage rather as like, a smaller intimate setting.
Okay. Marshall, what you think, man? How important are the ceremonials?
I mean, personally for me, I did a small ceremony. I got close friends and family, um, probably less than like 20 people. And when we did our union, I mean, I think it's good to do a small ceremony. I mean, like for example, when I did it, a lot of the elders have ascended. So I mean, it's a good memory that I got. You know, pictures and was able to experience that with them. So, so I would
Okay.
say the small ceremony is probably pretty good. I didn't, I was kind of against like having a big wedding, that costs, $20,000, $30,000 that I'm like keep paying on. So I would kind of go with the small set with
Would
kind of
you?
about what Izzy saying.
Okay. Matt, how important are the ceremonials?
I think it's definitely important. I definitely think it's definitely based on the individuals, but just to give a general answer, I say it's definitely important. I think you want to create as much good memories going into that situation as possible, and that's gonna be something that can definitely, like how you say, going into a marriage more so than dating should be a difference anyway. So that can be that one event that kind of leads to a new life that you're about to embark on with your wife. So I definitely think you want to just create as much positivity and great energy as possible, and that I don't see where it can hurt it, unless it's like two families that don't get along. But other than that, I don't see where it can, affect it in a bad way.
Cool. How important are the ceremonials, brother?
It depends on how important tradition is to you. I mean, ceremonies is just tradition. So if you value that as far as how you want to be traditional with your marriage, then go for it. My thing sometimes is don't have a traditional wedding, but don't want to have a traditional marriage. Like either you in tradition or you not.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I actually Kev said exactly what I was going to say. I was about to say I think it really just depended on the culture and the tradition of the people who you come from. I think it only matters just the importance just to that degree. Like if you come from a big traditional family where y'all put such emphasis and highlights on that, then it'd be very important because of course the marriage is not just for it's just not you. It represents the family and everything like that. Because I mean at the end of the day you are uniting families. You know what I'm saying? So I think that it just depends on the tradition of the people, the culture of the people. So I definitely agree with Kev on that one. Quick question. Do y'all believe in soulmates? You know, before we start diving into these marriage things, do y'all believe in this thing that when they talk about, they be like, yo, I just know my soulmate out there, man. It's just my soulmate, man. We just connect, man. We just super. It's like we won. Do y'all believe in soulmates? Matt, talk to me.
I don't believe in the literal terms, but how people typically use it, yeah. I believe there's somebody out there. Basically, basically what I take from saying that being a soulmate is like somebody you just connect with on every level. Like they know what you about to say before you say it. Y'all just vibe together. Y'all rarely argue. A lot of things are like, going well throughout the relationship. The sex is amazing. Like I think there's definitely somebody out there that you could just vibe with on every level. And I think that's what people typically mean when they say soulmate. Now, I think that also has a negative effect though, because people don't value people that they're with because they believe that it should be perfect. So I think it's out there, but I think that also, creates, allows an atmosphere where people don't value who they're dealing with because they have bought into that soulmate, idea.
Okay, cool. Marshall, you believe in soulmates, man?
Nah. But
Keeping it that
I
simple.
don't, yeah, just that
That's a
simple. I
smart
don't
man.
believe.
I might say it might be smart for you to keep that one kind of short. Kev, you believe in soulmates, man?
I do. I do believe in soulmates. I just don't believe that you only have one soulmate for the rest of your life.
I agree. I agree.
I feel like you can have multiple soulmates depending on your progression in life.
Exactly. Hey, Marsha, before you go to the next person, what do you think of when you hear the word soulmate? I know you don't agree with it, but like, what's your idea of what people mean by soulmate?
Um, that's a good question, man. I guess if I hear soulmate, I guess if I hear soulmate, I think of like kind of like what KJ was saying, like, oh, they're out there somewhere, this imaginary person here for me.
So you think it's one person? It's like one
No,
person? Okay.
I would pretty much go with like KFC, like, you know, with the progression of life, at certain stages. I mean, there are people that you might. I think it's more lust than anything.
Mhm. Do you believe there's a spirit out there that is more compatible with your spirit than anybody else's? Like a certain type of spirit. Do you believe in that?
Kindred spirits.
Because that's what I think of. I don't know how you interpret it, Kel, but that's how I think
Yeah.
of when I think of soulmate, like just a spirit that's more compatible with you than majority of other spirits, and it don't have to be like one person.
Well, I see a spirit and soul as separate. I think that soul. I mean, yeah, you can have a like what you're saying as far as soul,
Mhm.
but as far as spirit, I mean, somebody can be a good spirits, bad spirits. I mean, it's. I feel like that's different.
Mhm.
Is it what you think about that question that he posed?
Um, I think that we want soulmates to be a thing. Whether it actually is, I don't think so. And like I'm just saying this basically because of like who men and women are and how our differences. I think like, a woman can be a soulmate to a man for different reasons, and I think a woman sees like men as like a soulmate for different reasons, and some like when those reasons combine, I think that's a great thing because like you're able to like work it out and like you're able to like let your guard down in that relationship. But I don't think like what the whole like what a soulmate is really like matches in who we are as human beings, because usually like I feel like men they choose to be in that relationship and they choose to like stay in that relationship, and they're like mesmerized by that relationship because maybe like they are like in total lust with the woman versus like the women, like for the men, like like, oh, he like listens to me, oh, he provides me for me. So I feel like because those reasons are so different and so polarizing, I don't think like that whole thing really exists. And if it really did exist, we're coming together more so for love and marriages. The divorce rate wouldn't be so high if there are soulmates. You know what I mean? Like you have to look at the things statistically as well. So
Yeah, but
Okay, okay.
I think that just because you have a soulmate don't mean you can't divorce them.
that's true. I mean, I think like, you have to look at having soulmates. And that was like my other point. Like you have to look at having soulmates more so than in a relationship. Like I feel like, your friend could be your soulmate, like, and so on and
Hmm.
so forth.
I want to say something too. I don't know. I don't know if you could divorce a soulmate, but I will say this. This is what I want to hit on. I heard two people. I know Izzy said it, and I think it was Marshall, when they brought up lust. Are y'all saying that lust is only a bad thing? Because I'm trying to like determine how y'all use it. 'Cause I believe you can have lust for a person and it be in a positive way. I don't think lust is always a negative connotation. I know Izzy kind of used it just lust, and I heard you say something about it too, Marshall. So like both of y'all can answer about that, because I don't think lust is just negative.
Well, I mean, lust is kind of like in the Bible, it's kind of mentioned as like a sin,
Oh,
like
okay. If you're going by Christian, yeah, I got you. You going by
if we're going by those standards, like lust is a powerful thing because lust is like a superficial reason for like like you can lust someone the next day, literally, or like you can lust like after things that are just like literally like lust is something that you really kind of don't have control over your attraction to. So that's kind of like something that like you literally is ever changing.
But in the dynamics of a relationship in this Western culture, you don't think a little lust is needed?
I think it's
My personal.
important. I think it's definitely
Okay.
needed. I think it's like if you don't lust over that person, then that's basically kind of like a lot of reason like that's driving like the power of the relationship. But if you're just focusing on that, then it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't type of thing. Like I don't think that I think it's necessary. It's one of those things that are necessary, but you need like other factors supporting it as well.
How
Caprice,
can
what you
how?
think? Oh,
Oh
my
my
bad.
bad.
Go ahead, Kev.
I was gonna ask Maddie. How can you not divorce a soulmate?
I would. Well, I also said I didn't know, but I would have to look at the if there's is there actually a definition somewhere, because I'm thinking about how people use it more.
Yeah.
So if it's an
Yes,
I,
it's
I
a
was, I
okay,
was, I,
definition.
I was,
okay,
I
so yeah,
was gonna, y'all know me. I was gonna address the literacy of it when I had answered.
got you,
But yeah,
got you,
there is
got
an
you.
actual definition.
Yeah, so I'll let Kevin define it, but just to answer your question right now before he give me clarity on it. When I think of soulmate, I think of someone people say I'm compatible enough with whatever I want in life with that person is going to work out. So if you're getting a divorce, most people don't look at their perfect relationship ending in divorce. So when people speak of a soulmate, somebody I can vibe, they usually speak of it going the distance. So that's how I think about it. Now I don't know the literal meaning of it, and I see how that plays out, but that's how I think of soulmate. Unless somebody idea of marriage and soulmate may not ending forever, you know.
Caprice,
I don't know.
what you think about that? What you think about that? About these soulmates? You believe in these soulmates?
My original answer was gonna be no, but I looked it up
She
And
cheated. See,
how is that cheating?
see.
Hey, hold on. Hey, before you read that, Caprice, hold on.
I'm not gonna read it. I'm just gonna give my answer. I'm not gonna
Let's
read it.
hear
I'm
me.
gonna let Kevin read it.
Okay.
But from my understanding, I think a lot of people conflate soulmate with the one. Those are two different things. You could be
I
a
agree.
soulmate. You could be a soulmate with a friend, a family member, anybody. It just means like similarity, compatibility. So I do think you could still divorce a soulmate. And I do think you could have. I don't know if you can have many soulmates. It depends on you if you open to be your authentic self with everybody. But from the definition, I will say soulmates do exist. But that whole one thing, no.
So what
So,
y'all
yeah,
think? What
I
y'all?
was-
Go ahead, Kevin.
Nah,
Hey,
you want to throw something in there?
I was gonna ask. I was just gonna put a joke out there. Y'all don't have the answers, but I'll just put a joke out there. So if the two guys together and you ask, "Hey, that's your homeboy?" No, that's my soulmate. No, that should have sounded weird as hell, wouldn't it? A guy telling another guy that's my soulmate.
I mean, it would be weird to a certain person if you take it weird, but soulmate goes with platonic relationships too.
I got you.
So,
hey,
I mean,
hey,
if you
cool. Hey,
uncomfortable with saying my man's is my soulmate, then that's a you thing.
hey, question. Look, hey, can I say something on the soulmate? Let's just
Nah,
use
go
a
ahead.
scenario.
Do your thing, brother.
Hey, let's say I'm around a lot of people with my job, so let's say it's a female and she said this is her soulmate and she love him and got 3 kids from him or whatever, and then he just constantly beating her up and they go back together. Would y'all consider that a soulmate or what?
If they compatible and he knows her better than anybody else, technically
That's her soulmate. That's her soulmate. They compatible.
But
They
if
match.
her idea of being her soulmate didn't have her getting beat on in it, that wouldn't be her soulmate because it's not going according to plan.
That's not you getting too much into the feelings part of it. Let's
I'm
say
getting into compatibility
a
and
soulmate is just compatibility, comfortability.
So you telling me you could be if somebody's whipping your ass, that was part of your compatibility. That it's a compatibility there because I'm thinking that's incompatible when you get your ass whipped.
It depends on that woman. If she don't feel no way about her ass getting beat, then
well, if she into it, yeah. If she ain't got no complaints and she into it, but I don't think that's the context Marsha was using in. But if she's into getting her ass whipped, I would see where you're going.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's about compatibility. So you add morality into it, and at this point, it's just about compatibility.
So somebody getting physically beaten on. Y'all don't think they ain't got nothing to do with compatibility? If that person wasn't looking for that,
it might be compatible based off of how she is.
I mean,
I
agree with that. I'm just using the context of how he was putting it, but I mean, I don't think that.
But he
I got to move on.
But he said that she said that's her soulmate, even when she get her ass beat. So how can you tell her that's not her soulmate?
But he also said she getting back with him. So I mean, it had to be what would make her get back with him, unless it was some incompatibility there.
Because that's a soulmate. That's supposed to get back with him.
She said that's her soulmate.
Nah, y'all be using soulmate.
She said she love him.
All right, so let me jump in, people. Let me jump in. So when we address a soulmate anybody. I brought when one of y'all was saying something, I was like, yo, kindred spirits. Nigga, my mama could be my soulmate, nigga. We could be kindred spirits. Mm-hmm. But to the definition of a soulmate is simply a person with whom one has strong affinity, shares values, tastes, and often a romantic bond. So Matt, to your question, he could be beating her motherfucking ass and that still could be her soulmate. So yeah, that's just how that works. I think when we speak of people, I think when most people use the term soulmate, they look at it from like a fairy tale-ish Disney ideal way. Like when they hear soulmate, they look at it from like, Like, and it's kind of like what Caprice was saying about the idea of the one. Like, they look at it from like, oh, my Prince Charming or this woman is going to come into my life and it's going to be the most blissful thing. We're just going to be happy and all this other stuff like that. That when a lot of people hear soulmate, they think of it in that nature. But realistically, if you share affinity with a person, dude, that ain't nothing but your likes and ideas, the things y'all have common with each other. It could be that. So even when Matt gave the example about like the homeboy, he was like, yo, that's my soulmate. It would still be literally true by definition. If you and your homeboy are that tightly knit, y'all like all the same joints, y'all like the same stuff, getting the same stuff, soulmate. But I think a lot of people take soulmate to this Disney type of plantation. So
because a soulmate isn't about synchronization. It's like it's not like y'all gonna be sync in behavior either.
Yeah, they got nothing to do with it.
I agree with that, but if we go by like him saying sharing same values, ideas and stuff like that, what would the person be whipping you over for unless there was, I mean, maybe I'm digging too deep into it. What would they actually be beating on the person for unless there was something they don't align with?
Not necessarily true. You could have a situation of they could even, that woman could even share the concept of the vision of what he's doing, but she might not approach it the way that he wants it to be done, and he's so controlling within the methodology of how he wants these things done that he might beat on her. That doesn't mean she doesn't align with what he wants done. She just can't see him tap into the way he wants it done. So that could be a reason why he beat him, because there are a lot of cats who are just more controlling. They want you to do it the way they want you to do it. So it doesn't mean that she's against it in totality, like the vision of the thing. She just might not be going to write the proper operation for him, if it makes sense.
Compatible. We'll continue on.
I mean, and to be honest, her allowance of it as a unhealthy compatibility.
Yes, that's going to my point then.
But it's still compatibility. That's what they talking about. That's pretty much, yeah.
Now, whether you want to say
morally is not right. Morally is not healthy, but it's still they still compatible some type of way.
Yeah, whether you deem it right or wrong, the compatibility is still there. All right, let's dive into this thing, right? So we're gonna talk about this, right? What are the most important things to y'all in this thing called marriage? Now we got to start diving into this marriage thing. What are the important things to y'all? If y'all jump forward, what are the most important things to y'all that would be in this marriage? Matt, start with you, brother.
I would say faithfulness, definitely at the top. Well, commitment to whatever y'all vows were. I would say building. I don't believe in being complacent. I believe both people should be elevating, growing mentally, spiritually, or however they choose to connect. I would say the values that they have in raising. Well, I'm speaking on me, my fault. The values that I would have with my wife in raising a kid. Those are some of the compatibilities that are at the highest of that list for me.
Cool. Caprice, what would be some important things for you walking through this pathway of this marriage?
You can hear me clear?
Yeah, I hear you.
For me, it would be values, an aligned vision of the family, and the business of the marriage.
Okay. Marshall, what are the most important things in the marriage to you, brother?
Honesty, like I say, your word, your bond. You can, like once you got everything established, look, I can count on you for this. Vice versa. Probably that.
Cool. Izzy, what are the most important things to you in this thing called marriage?
I think for me personally, the most important things are loyalty, respect, patience, And really a huge thing is like really like listening and discussing like, you know, certain roles or expectations that you know, both of us need to bring in to the table of the marriage.
Okay. Matt, you go?
Yeah, I already went. I'm
Yeah,
gonna add
but
something in after Kev though. But go ahead.
So, Kev, what you think, man?
I think the compatibility in values, standards, expectations, um, as far as where y'all at and where y'all going. That's most important to me.
Cool. I chop this up as very simple. I think the most important thing is simple communication. I think if we have this thing of communication, every other thing that y'all name, we should be able to work through and build through it. I think the biggest problem is people just don't communicate. I think we like because we communicating, we unearthing these moral codes, these principles. We are unearthing a lot of these things. Like we simply communicate because even with values and all this other stuff like that, a lot of times these things change within the marriage. So as long as we constantly have this thing called communication, we can walk all these things forward, no matter what it is that we're talking about. So I think
I
I
agree.
would just chalk it up to communication because I think everything else falls after. So I think that's the
I,
most important, communication.
I agree with what you said about everything falls after. I just wanted to add it in before we close this topic out. One of our previous episodes, sacrifices. I would definitely say that would be a value as well. Because I think in any long-term marriage, there's going to be a point where somebody has to sacrifice something to make it work. If you got two selfish people and both people aren't willing to sacrifice anything, that's going to come to a head at some point. So I definitely would throw sacrifices in there as well.
Yeah, I
Cool.
also think that you can communicate well with somebody you're not compatible with.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
So
I mean, yeah, I don't disagree. Um, so I think I posed this question. I think somebody posed the question and I kind of jumped over. In y'all opinions, what would a successful marriage look like? I'm just curious because I understand that people get married for many different reasons. So we start talking about this right here is a so-called good marriage, or this is successful, or this is a failure. Like, what are y'all opinions? What would a successful marriage look like?
My
Let me
bad.
see who we got here. Caprice, talk to me. We got to get you while you here, because you be in and out.
I think successful is subjective. It would depend on those two people of where they see
I
their
said you now.
marriage.
I said you. I said you.
Me?
Yep, I
Okay,
know it's
so
subjective. That's why I said you.
a successful marriage to me will be hold on, let me turn this down. It will be a healthy communication between oh shit. It would be a healthy communication between the two. It would be y'all can hear that echo?
yeah,
Yeah, I mean it's faint, yeah, but we can still hear a little bit.
Hold on, let me try to turn it down. Why is it not turning down?
Finish your thought. Come on.
Huh? Alright, it's turned down. No, it's not. Alright, hold on. Okay. A successful marriage to me will be a healthy communication between the two. And when I say healthy communications, I feel like even when in arguments, I don't think arguments should lead to the next day. I think we should resolve that before the next day comes. I think it would be our attentive to each other, checking in on each other, whether that's a daily check, 6-month check, whatever. Um, actively working to make the marriage work. And just knowing each other inside and out.
Okay. Izzy, what does a successful marriage look like to you?
Well, for me, I feel like, you know, two main things of a successful marriage would be, you know, both parties supporting each other and understanding each other, and I feel like everything else will like fall like naturally under that umbrella.
Okay. Nat, what would a successful marriage look like to you, brother?
Constant communication. Like I like what Capri said about checkups. I think that's a big thing. Me and my woman checking up like every 6 months to a year to see how this next year gonna be, how the goals we set in this marriage gonna be. I would say just learning together, experiencing life together, and keeping that communication active. That would be the main things. And on the same page as far as the raising of kids.
Cool. Marshall, what does a successful marriage look like to you, brother?
Hey, you better answer that. You better answer that. Like, be careful.
Especially being married.
It's on YouTube. You better be careful.
Oh, okay.
It is live.
Okay. Yeah. Communication. Communication is I know we just said it round and around, but communication is key. Communication, game plan, and that's mainly it, man. I mean, communication is just the way to go.
Okay. Kev, what does a successful marriage look like to you, brother?
Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, and Russell Wilson and Sierra. That's a successful marriage.
That boy.
That's what they say.
Are you being facetious right now?
That's what they say. No, I mean pretty much a successful marriage is pretty much what everybody said, but you just add the element of consistency.
Right.
Because you can do everything that everybody said, but if you're not consistent, it's not going to be successful.
And a good old beating from time to time, right?
I don't know about all that.
I think that goes.
I
I think that goes in with actively putting that work in.
That's the consistency.
Yeah, I think.
So yeah, I definitely agree with what Kev said. That's what I was thinking in my mind too. I was thinking like, success would be carrying it from the way you started it all the way through. Like that's just what it would be. Y'all keeping it pushing from the same placement of when y'all started, and y'all still are working. So it's like because I understand people get married for many different reasons. So if y'all marriage was so hell bent on the success and a lot of other avenues and building certain things with, and y'all keep that pushing all the way through, I think that would be success. I think as long as you are accomplishing what it is that y'all both want within it, that's what would be the success. You know what I'm saying? And of course, that's differently for different people because people dive in for different reasons. So I think the consistency definitely is what would make it a success or not.
Yeah.
So could y'all, just being funny, is it a success if y'all got a divorce?
I was just telling you took the question right when I was just about to jump in. I was just about to say, I also believe a successful marriage can end in divorce. If they got their goals accomplished, that they set for that marriage. Because some people get married just for the raising of kids and building themselves to a certain place in life. And then after they do that, they're like, we done, and they go their separate ways. So I was just about to kind of talk about that. But definitely, I think it can end in divorce.
I mean, I think that one part I was going to add was you have to have dedication for it to be successful. So if you can be consistent throughout your marriage and still get divorced.
Yeah.
And I think it also depends on your vows. I think a lot of people don't try to hone into them vows. If you're going to say sickness and health and death do us part, then you need to literally.
But what if they saying that for the what if they saying that for the show of the people that's there, but they got a personal agreement, which she ain't here now, but they got a personal agreement that they got a certain goal in their mind.
The personal agreement from the vows?
Yeah, exactly. I know where you're about to go, but go ahead.
No, I'm asking. You say the personal agreement from the vows, so you say the vows is part of the ceremony, but they got their own agreement?
Yeah, like they have an understanding with each other, but they doing stuff, for the ceremony, for the show, or the people that's there, but they got their own agreement, how they gonna conduct their relationship outside of what people think. The same thing with people go into a relationship and they want to open marriage. They don't necessarily tell everybody at the wedding this is what we're doing. They may just have that their own personal thing going on.
You talking
Talking
about like
But you don't
prenup?
have to. You don't have to say. You don't have to say your vows in the ceremonial, neither. Though.
Mm-hmm.
You,
Like, you
hey,
don't
hey,
have to do that.
Yeah, you don't have to. I get that.
you talking about the gates? Are you using that like an example? No, I'm talking about like Mr. and Mrs. Gates, Bill Gates.
Oh, you talk about with the open marriage. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good example. And how it's understood, I'm gonna be doing this on the side. Now, if they got married and people was there, I'm sure that ain't stated in at the wedding.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about what you uphold amongst each other too. I mean, I don't think your vows got anything to do with the other people. So, I mean, at the end of the day, all that matters is what it is that y'all took vow to each other about. I don't think whether you say it in front of other people, I don't think none of that matters. I mean, it's all the because the commitment is between y'all.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I think, hey, you just gotta uphold what y'all committed to each other. Fuck what you told them niggas at the wedding.
that's what I'm saying. If they got that agreement with each other, no matter what they say at the wedding, people just do stuff at the wedding for show. The wedding really is just a show for other people. Them two people don't necessarily need that for them.
All right, man, let's have some fun.
Well,
Let's have some fun. Let's talk about this thing. Does prenups typically make women question the idea of proceeding with marriage? Because you always hear scenarios where it be like, yo, when people be like, yo, you're gonna bring a prenup, then women start doing this thing with like, whoa, if you gotta get a prenup, you must really don't be with me. You're already halfway out. You don't think we're gonna continue forward. You don't think all the other stuff. So the question is that, do these prenups make women even question the idea of proceeding forward with this thing called marriage? Caprice, talk to me. While you here, we got to get you.
I think I'm not gonna say. I think some women, in totality, I think they have a problem with that. And then there's women like me that really wouldn't care because it's like that's not on my mind when we're getting married. I wouldn't feel the type of way if you want to protect yourself. Like, and then a lot of people don't understand that a prenup is really protecting both of y'all. It's not just protecting a man. So if we want to protect ourselves, I don't see a problem with that. If we see the rate of divorces, then it would be dumb not to get a prenup. So, and I don't care where you at in life. I don't care if you broke. Still, you never know what's going to happen within that marriage. So, yeah. I think a prenup is very smart. Men, don't be dumb. Women, don't be dumb and not get one.
Marsh, what you think, man? Do you think these usually when prenups come up, man? Why do you think it typically? Do you think it typically, make women be like, you know what? I don't even want to proceed with this. They feel like you're already out.
Yeah, but I kind of go with what Patrice says. I mean, Caprice says, hey, you better get one. I mean, it's so many different ways, like it could protect you and that other person, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to think on the news. But yeah, if I was to get married again, I would have to give me a prenup. But did I do it? No, I didn't. I was fairly young when I got married, but anybody that's in there.
So you saying you ain't feeling protected right now?
Oh, I mean, I feel protected, but I'm just saying
there is a thing called a postnup.
You got postnuptial agreements.
I would say if you were in your 30s, I guess with me being in my 20s, I didn't acquire as much as what I have in my 30s. So I mean, I would, if you acquired a lot, I would most definitely get consider a prenup. If y'all both don't got nothing, then I probably wouldn't worry about it.
Then it don't matter. If you ain't got shit, what the hell you protecting?
Right. But if you got something,
if you ain't got shit. Easy, what you think, man? You think these women be like, man, you know what? Since you want to be talking all these agreements going into it, I don't even want to do this no more. What you think?
Of course. Like, I understand, like, that like if on paper, yes, like, I understand that, it's important to, like, feel protected in case anything goes wrong. But like I feel like it's really like it's not a good placement to, like, put, like, what sounds good on paper with how our actual emotions are and how they govern us. Like, if someone was like, okay, like, let me get a prenup. Well, I mean, like, if it makes sense to protect them, yes, but it's like, it's like, damn, like, you don't think, like, you don't see me as your forever or your last stop. It's like, wow, okay. That's how I'm going to feel personally. Like, I understand protection. I do, but it's like, when like, when you're emotionally hurt by something, it's like, it's a whole nother, like, realm. It's like you can't control what makes sense when it hurts you.
Yeah, but I think still to that point, you could still turn that around. Like, or if you think we're gonna be together forever, then what's the problem with a prenup?
Yes, but that's not a prenup. Is really like for protection when it's not that case, though. You know what I mean? It's not be like, oh, we're gonna be forever, but let's just make sure. Like, you don't make sure about something when you're indefinitely sure that's your last stop.
And I think that's the
Not
problem with a
necessarily.
lot of people going to marriages. You think like this is gonna be forever. People need to get that out of their mind that marriage means forever. Marriage does not mean forever. So it'd be best to protect yourself. I feel like prenup is in the same category with DNA test.
Insurance.
Yeah.
So you feel like
It's the
marriage
same
isn't
category
forever?
of insurance.
I don't feel like I feel like that's subjective to the two people. You can't tell everybody that get married that they marriage is going to be forever.
You chopping up, priest. You chopping
Hear me
up,
now?
priest. Go
Can
ahead,
you
say a
hear me
little something.
now?
Yeah, we can hear you still, radio edition.
It's choppy.
Yeah, a little bit.
Let me try my phone.
Caprice, I'm gonna start on Mondays and Thursdays. I'm gonna
What
start
about
coming
now?
making you stream from over here.
But if the standard of
From
marriage,
what?
but if the standard of marriage isn't for it to be forever, then why get married?
Exactly. Like, I don't understand. Like, okay, so what's the whole point? Is it for show? Is it for status? Is it because you can? Is it?
Can y'all hear me now?
You, I
Yeah.
mean, you
Am I
chop, you
choppy?
chopping up a little bit.
All right, hold on. I can hear you, but I'll get you back to that question, so don't try to move on.
Nah, go ahead, get yourself together. We're gonna build on this. So, explain on that, Izzy. What you talking about? Y'all building on the forever concept.
Yeah, because it's like, if you are marriage, like I heard someone say, I forgot who, is supposed to be a permanent thing. I don't know why we're treating like this thing is like, if that's the case, if you think like otherwise, like, why are you getting married? You are initially inviting the government to literally divide up your assets, to really be in your relationship, to solidify it, because you have trust in that relationship for that person to be there forever. So it's like, why are you getting married if you think otherwise? Why are you getting prenups if you think that this person is like, I understand the protection of it, especially in, like, like, I guess in the dynamic where someone has like the provider that has the more money and doesn't want to, like, split up their money, like if it doesn't work out. I understand that, but it's like at the same time, like, with me, like, I'm not a starter wife. I'm like, I want to, like, learn my lessons and stay out of a marriage until, like, I'm able to say, okay, hey, like, I'm able to work things out, I'm able to see things through, I'm able to learn my lessons. So I don't know, like, I feel like with me, like, and I feel like women who say prenups don't hurt, especially when they're not the bread holders, it's like I think that I feel like, it's kind of like hurtful. You know what I mean? Like, I do. I feel like they're low key hurt. I don't think that, like, if you aren't the breadwinner in that relationship, you want to be like cut from the assets like afterwards. Like, I like added to you. Like, if anything, if it didn't work out, I like, taught you lessons that you wouldn't have learned otherwise. So it's like, I don't know. Like, I just feel like, prenups, like, I understand like the importance of them to protect people, but it's like, I don't feel like it's realistic to say like, oh, like, I wouldn't be hurt by it. Like, I feel like, especially if you're not the breadwinner, you'd be hurt by it.
I got a question. Because y'all, I think Kev was about to echo it.
Me and Kev,
when y'all say
me and Kev.
No, I got you. I just want to chime into like something that I hear they keep saying.
Keep saying marriage is forever.
Are y'all pushing with this whole forever thing? And I'm only asking because I don't see nothing in this goddamn definition about no goddamn forever. So I'm trying to figure out where the hell forever come from. So are y'all saying this because people implement these vows or to death do us part? Like y'all are walking from that biblical structure of it. I don't see forever in it. So I'm trying to figure out where did this forever keep coming from.
I have a question. What is the intention of getting married?
It could be different for different people.
But what is the real intention of getting married?
You can't say what's the real reason, because that is subjective to those two people. The reason why they want to get married.
Yeah. I was about to say this. Like, there are people who literally get married for the uniting of like just like we talk about the kingdom days. Some people get married to unite funds and power. It ain't got shit to do with even if I even like you or anything like that. It's about us uniting and bringing this. Like, it's so many different reasons why people get married. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm like, I don't understand what the emphasis on forever. Like, nothing lasts forever. So I don't understand why people keep saying forever. It sounds weird.
But if it's subjective, if it's subjective, then forever can be subjective too. So it don't really matter.
Well, I know that's what I'm saying.
It can be subjective.
I was asking what makes an individual say forever. That's why I was asking. What is?
It's literally in the vows. Like, what do you mean? It's in the vows.
It depends on their vow. It depends on their vow.
You don't have to use biblical vows. Everybody is not gonna walk that path. People can write their own vows. Death do us supposed to be in your vows.
Yeah, it's subjective to your vows.
And that contradicts the last question of us respecting the communication in a personal relationship. So we respect that. How can we tell two people that their relationship shouldn't be based on forever? If they got their personal communication, and you saying you agree with personal communication, but now you're saying they shouldn't do this, then you don't really agree with their personal communication between their relationship.
Nobody shouldn't do nothing.
Now, is it say you should, if you get married, is it said if you get married, it should be forever. It shouldn't be a divorce.
Oh.
So I'm saying if you saying that, then you say you pretty much saying that you don't give a damn about their personal, understanding with each other.
And I'm trying to
if it's completely about the forever, that means if you get a divorce, then you just fail, period.
You fail. No matter what, you get divorced.
Yeah, I'm about to say, so that means if you made a commitment to go into it, if you got a divorce, you failed. Ain't no ifs, ands, buts about it. You just failed.
Yeah,
because
failed.
Forever, you can't say, oh, we agreed to separate, but it's forever. Nah, forever is forever. That means
okay, forever, but it's like until death do us part. That's more so the vow that like we're stating. So until someone dies in that relationship, it's gonna be,
So if you commit to forever, would you stay if the man becomes an alcoholic or abusive and all that? Because
that don't matter. It don't matter.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter any scenario you put forward, because forever is forever. Anything you use to attack is just an excuse.
And that's what I'm saying. A lot of people try to use this forever word, but then they want to leave when they get beat on, or the man becomes an alcoholic or lose his job and can't provide for the family. So if you're gonna say forever, you got to stick through all of that.
I mean, I agree with that, because guess what? I do say for better or for worse.
I'm not sacrificing my body and my health and my literal life to be in a relationship.
But is
so you don't believe forever then?
It do say for better or for worse. So if he punch you in your face every Monday, that's just happened to be the worst. But you still got
no, because honestly, like at that point, you like honestly
you're not
that
honoring these
No,
vows.
Capri is
no,
right.
no, because that's
Capri's
not
is
right.
Yeah,
Listen, that's
right.
not right. Like
Capri's
you
right.
at that
Is it
point, it's
you?
like at that
If he
point,
cheat
it's like
on you,
But
if
you
he
even
cheat
said,
on
is
you,
it
if
you
he
said
cheat on you,
death
if he cheat on
do
you,
you
too, you gotta
part?
stay through that too. That's forever. If he cheat on you,
Forever is forever.
mm-mm.
That means no
So
matter
you say
what come up, is you got to stay, girl. You
That's
got to
what I'm
hold
saying.
down.
Now y'all saying I should get punched in my face and be in like no, like that's literally like
If
risking
you
my life.
believe
I
it forever,
wouldn't do
yes, I am
that.
saying that. You telling me you
Tolerating
believe it
abuse
forever,
is like
I'm
a
saying.
whole nother like ballpark.
Now I'm saying
And
that
listen, if you believe
make
forever,
the
I'm gonna say,
choice.
Izzy, you might need to start taking some classes with me. I'm gonna say, but you gotta stay. You might need to start taking some classes with me though. That's what I'm gonna tell you. Because I'm like, well, you believe in forever? Well, let me show you how to dodge some punches. Let me show you how to throw a couple. Because you plan on staying forever, so you need to be equipped. That's what I'm gonna tell you.
Okay, I guess then death do us part. One of us gonna die in that relationship. Then if that's the case,
Go ahead, Kel. What you about to say, Kel?
No, I was saying I agree. Like, it is because for better or for worse, you can't control what worse is going to be.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the original question though, right? What's
No, that's not the original question. I was
No,
just
no.
responding to what
Oh, okay, my
what we're
bad.
talking about. Yeah, but the intention of it being forever. I mean, yes, you can make a choice of not following through with that commitment, which is what divorce is. But the intention of doing it starts with your vow, whatever vow that you set. So some people say, depends. Like y'all said, it's subjective, but some people go into it with the mindset that it's going to be forever because that's what their vow was.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much all we saying is, I mean, if you gonna take the vow, you really believe in it, because it's a question of, are you really honoring the vow? So if you if I hear you say, for better or for worse, sickness and health, and to death do us part, that means in my mind, I'm like, yo, she there till she dead. And if anybody think any different, it's like, well, then why are we upholding the vows? How about you don't put those extremes there then? If that's too much, like if a motherfucker get a extreme form of cancer, you know you can't take care of, if you know you really can't build through the sickness of health, don't put it in your vows. If you know that there is a worse that
like you can control your vows, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If you know that there is a worse out there that you cannot deal with, don't add that in your vows. If you know you ain't willing to die behind it, how about you just don't add that to your vows? It ain't like you have to use those. Like, listen, like, because I know, like me, I know how much it goes into to have to take care of the sickly. I wouldn't say through sickness or health. I might have to leave. But that's just me being honest. So I'm not gonna mislead you. That's just like guys who say they love women to be fit. Listen, if I can't have you being over 180, I'm not gonna say for better or for worse, because you done got fat, and I ain't attracted to you fattening your fat ass. So guess what? I need to exit. Sorry, you don't have to put these in your vows. So if you know it's things out there that you cannot commit to, just leave them out. Make your vows based on something you can commit to, because then that will contribute more to your success. Otherwise, you failed.
And a lot of people with that, does that sound choppy?
Yeah.
Yeah, you sound choppy.
How about now?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I got a question.
I think that I haven't answered that. Did we finish that prenup question?
Yeah, I ain't answered that either.
I don't think so.
Oh,
Yeah, I didn't answer it either.
How about now?
You go ahead, Matt. You go ahead, Matt.
I'm good now.
All right. How,
Go ahead, Matt.
how you phrase the question again, Kevin? How was the question phrased again?
The prenup question was, does a prenup make women question proceeding in marriage?
Oh yeah, got you. I would definitely say so. I think that one of the biggest things women get married for in the first place is financial stability. So you're saying you put the prenup in their mind, it's automatically saying that I'm left vulnerable if this doesn't work out. I think it's definitely a front when women say, that they use that line about you thinking that the marriage isn't going to work, and that's why you're doing the prenup. I think it's more about if it doesn't work, I'm left vulnerable. I think the other part is just a front. They're not going to say, well, if it doesn't work, I'm not, I'm going back to what I came in with. They're not just going to say directly. So they use that, well, you must be looking at a divorce. They know the guy, if the guy asks you to marry him, he getting on one knee. Obviously, he's not looking at it like I'm planning on being divorced in 5-10 years. He's obviously hoping that it goes a long way. But I will also say that, damn, I forgot where I was about to go with it. But yeah, I lost my train of thought, man. But go to Kev and I'll come back in there and jump back in there.
I mean,
Go ahead, Kev. What you think about the
prenuptials aren't indefinite. You can change your prenuptials, or you can make it towards a certain time frame and then not have it no more. Like it is an insurance, but it's not something that has to last the entire marriage. So even with with the prenup, as far as the question, I say yes, because if we're talking about the psychology of marriage, it is a psychological tactic, or a psychological, it can mess with the psyche of a woman or a person who's receiving the prenup, to make them think a preconceived notion that it's going to be a failure. The same way, like if you in the marriage and then somebody brings up alimony, you probably won't feel like getting divorced no time soon. If somebody brings up child support before you had a child, you probably ain't gonna want to have that child. You're gonna, as far as the hesitation factor, yes, it's gonna be there.
Yeah, I agree with your point totally. I would say on the guy end, every female can say, I would never put you on child support. I would never take your money when I leave. How many of them females actually keep that promise, or actually say that and actually stick with that when situations fall apart? 90%, well, I ain't with a percentage of it. Most times I've seen people typically trying to get child support. They typically try to get spousal support. They typically trying to get money if you leave them and you work for a person that even can ask them to have a prenup. They're trying to get money from it. They typically don't say, well, hey, I'm gonna respect that even though we don't have no insurance there.
Yeah, I mean, like the comments say, car insurance is not hoping for an accident. I mean, yeah, it's a scam. That's car insurance is a scam. But as far as with prenups, yeah, but I get the psychology of it.
Yeah, I understood where all day every day was going with that. What you was about to add in, Matt?
No, I was about to say something, but I was about to make a comment about the car insurance, but I ain't wanted to veer the conversation off because I don't think car insurance is a scam. But that's another topic for another day.
We agree to disagree, Matt.
Yeah, I agree with you. We agree to disagree.
Hey, Marshall, about the topic at hand. Does the prenup make a woman question proceeding into a marriage? What you think?
I mean, it's a little different for me. I guess now looking at the prenup, like
you had to go look at yours. Is that what you said?
That's why you jumped off. You had to go look at some papers.
I think he answered the question already.
But no, so from I actually know people that have prenups or have gotten prenups. I mean, like from a business aspect, you go into business and you might have two or three other people. I can see you saying, hey, I got this, I started this business before, you and I got together. I need you to sign this because, I mean, with what you and her got going on, it shouldn't affect the other people. You know what I'm saying? I mean, from that example.
Cool. And how come people don't go into a marriage knowing it's a business agreement?
Because everybody don't look at marriage as a business. A lot of people literally think that it's predicated upon I love them so much, and I want to be with them forever. And a lot of people base it based off of that alone, the emotional side of it. and people don't really like bringing their emotions to a business realm. So that's why.
Because
I got a quick question.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead, Kel.
No,
I'm just
go ahead,
talking.
Kel, go ahead.
I mean, I can see getting a prenup to secure the loyalty in the marriage. Like, say you get a prenup, a 5-year prenup or a 10-year prenup, and then after that prenup, you get rid of it. Or who knows? I mean, they might just be waiting their time. Never mind, man. You go ahead to the.
I was
you go ahead to
thinking
the
that
next question.
I was like, they might just be sticking around to the prenup over though. They might not be wanting to stay.
And I look at it like this: if the prenup is coming off, or you don't get a prenup, it's kind of like the same thing with the welfare system. You incentivizing somebody for failure. You know, it's like you're incentivizing single moms. You pretty much incentivize the woman to get a divorce if it don't work out. If that, you know, financial stability or that financial level of achievement is there before they get married, she benefits from the divorce. And I just don't like the idea of somebody benefiting from failure.
I mean, I would put alimony towards that more than prenup.
I mean, either or.
Alimony is more the benefit for the divorce. The prenup is really more of you protecting yourself. It's really not really the incentive more so for her. Because realistically, like if I'm
saying if there's no prenup at all.
Well, I mean,
and the guy, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about like even that situation. But go ahead.
I mean, it's to each his own, but I think it's just insurance.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I think it's just insurance. Like if we get like you ain't getting health insurance with the mindset of like, yo, I ain't want to say that. Sometimes they might be getting health insurance with the intentions of hoping you die because they want the payback.
Yeah,
so
right.
I'm not even gonna say that. Never mind. Hey, look, quick question. What come to y'all mind when y'all see these habitual offenders when it comes to marriage? Like, do a thought come to your mind? Like when you meet somebody and somebody be like, yo, I done been married 3-4 times. Like, what come to y'all mind when y'all see that? You know what I'm saying? Like, do something come to your mind, or do you just be like, hey, he just married 3-4 times? Like, what comes to y'all?
I just think they care more about, you know, the control of saying, you know, a woman belongs to me more so than the actual making it work. That's my first thought. Like, damn, that's how you say. Some guys, they've been married 4-5 times. You know, I be driving Uber sometimes. I hear these stories. I'm like, so every person he get, it's pretty much a marriage. Some people just believe you should be married. That's how I think. You know, okay, he one of those people that he believe he should. Anybody he talk to, it should lead to marriage. He don't believe in that dating aspect, or he just believe in control. I like to be married. I like to take a woman off the streets or take a woman from off the market and say that's mine. Some people value that aspect of saying she has my last name, even if it don't work. Whoever I deal with, I make them have my last name. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think about Steve Harvey.
Yeah.
I mean, some guys they grow up with the I guess with the culture, or depending on how they grew up in the morals and values they were raised to know to think that long-term relationships can only be marriage.
Yeah.
So they just get married, you know, just to go ahead and knock out the whole shacking up and all that. It just depends on how they see it.
And some people do you agree with what I said on the other point, Kel? Like some people just love the aspect, the mentality of this person has my last name. You know, people that I deal with, you know.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, I fully agree. That's why I said like the ideas of like the success and all these things, man. It's based upon why these people are doing what they're doing. Like people get married for all kind of reasons. Like it's not like there's just one reason for why people do it, man. And it's like some people believe in like the whole lineage thing, right? There are people who will get together, raise the children. Soon as they get ready, they old enough, they ready to move off and get a divorce because their whole purpose was to do this, nothing else. Like that would be a success because you succeeded in what it is that you wanted to do. Like that was your reason for coming together because you believe in the nuclear family, so you didn't want to raise the kids outside of that. So you got together because you wanted to do this, you accomplished it. Boom, we out. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think everything is just like. I can understand why, you know, people who walk the biblical path, why they view it as such a lifetime thing. But I don't believe that commitment is a lifetime thing. All commitments ain't lifelong. And I think marriage is one of them. I don't think it has to be a lifelong commitment. I think whatever you can accomplish whatever it is you want to see come into fruition, and then you can move on.
And I know, and I spoke to a few guys before, and I know some guys they have to live with a woman. Like some people, they cannot stay alone, but they also believe that if somebody lives with you, y'all should be married. So anytime they have a breakup, if they meet a new woman 2-3 weeks down the line, they're like, hey, you ready? You're gonna have my last name, right? I want you to move in with me, this, that, and they immediately go into the next situation, getting married. So that happens.
Yeah, because they don't believe in the whole. They came up with their teachers of not believing in the whole shacking up.
Yeah, but they have to stay with a woman. Like I met some people in their 40s and 50s who have never lived alone. They went from their mama house at 18, got married, and they probably been in 2 or 3 marriages. They have to be staying with somebody.
Yeah, that's just fear. All that is that a lot of people. Listen, a lot of people are afraid to be by themselves. They just afraid.
Yeah, I've met people that sit there, older people. They never been in the house by themselves unless they ran back to the house to grab something real quick and go back out.
All right, hey, let's dive a little deeper into this thing. So I know y'all look like a pretty internet savvy type of group. Y'all hear a lot of these conversations and things that be going on, and people share their ideas and when they talk about the inner workings of their marriages. I know there's a lot of people who believe in the older thought that that women should be more of like helpmeets to their situations, and then you have people who believe the idea of actual partnerships. So I want to know what just y'all thoughts. There's never a right or wrong. Respect. What are y'all thoughts on that? How do y'all think these things tend to formulate today better as partnerships, or do y'all think this help meet circumstances is where it's at? What y'all think? Caprice, I'm gonna let you go first because you live it. Oh, you might be frozen. Might already be gone. Matt, go ahead, do your thing.
Let me ponder on this a little bit. Come back to me.
You pondering? Okay. Talk to me.
I'm having kind of trouble like understanding the actual question here.
So there are people who, they maneuver with that this whole thing about women being helpmeet. There are guys who don't believe that we are partners. They'll say, no, this is not a partnership. You know what I'm saying? They believe in women forming their roles to assist because, I know you brought up the whole biblical path, and in the Bible it speaks to women being helpmeet. You know what I'm saying? So we walk that path. God didn't actually create Eve to help assist Adam with running this garden and doing these things right here. He believed that man should not be alone. So he granted her, you know what I'm saying, really more so of the easing of Adam, not more so to help to do the chores, for lack of a better word to say. Mm-hmm. So some men believe that that's that woman's job. Her job is to assist, help me. Then some like, yo, nah, we partners.
So, are you saying like if I agree with that or disagree with that?
Just what are your thoughts? Which one do you more likely align with?
I think I think men and women help each other in different ways without realizing. I think that like with women, we more so, are willing to go with someone who, again, is able to help us financially, because naturally men do earn more than women. They're stronger than women. They don't carry children like women, and, to work while you're pregnant or work while you have to take care of your family. It's something that is like, again, a new practice. So I think that like, in terms of like on the man side, helping the woman, I think that like it's what I align with is like more so like I want to raise a family, so I don't want to like, I don't want anybody else to really raise my family other than me. Like it takes a village, of course, but I think with me and like, I'm like a more traditional value type of person where it's just like, I expect and I want, someone to be like, providing in that way financially, and I'm able to like help like raise the family properly. Like I've worked in like like daycares and like in different schools, and I've seen both aspects of it. I've seen like, women you know get like having to work and like, having to like, pay literally a second rent to like put their kids in daycare just to have someone that doesn't like maybe like value your children the same way that you do. And I feel like especially if like, like us Black people, like I feel like we should really start practicing more traditional values because, we're literally giving our children away to people who we claim, or, 9 times out of 10 claim that don't really, care about us. So why would we be raising our children in those types of environments, and like having like, their minds like groomed early on? I feel like, we should just like start to strive to practice more traditional values, because that's like, I feel like if we're doing the same job as the man, that's where like, a lot of like, you know, um, I think a lot of like, I can do this without you. Why am I with you? Type thing like starts to form. So
Okay. Matt, what you think, man? When you hear these conversations out here, you hear people talk about the ideas of the help me and the partnerships, man. Which one are you more likely align with?
I definitely align with the helpmate, and I believe it's also just more natural. I think the other way is more constructed on the female's part of how they should be moving today. And me personally, I just like to have a certain level of control. A lot of times when women speak of partnership, it from the standpoints I've dealt with women in these sport partnership, it feels like you have no control because it's kind of like I'm doing my thing, you doing your thing, and we just come together. I like the fact I have some influence over how the direction of this relationship is going, and I think in the independent route where what partnership and what was the other side again?
The help
Yeah,
me. I'm about to say,
my
oh
fault.
boy,
Yeah,
you agree with the other part.
yeah, I'm tripping. In partnerships, you typically don't have as much influence as you would have with a helpmate. So I align with the helpmate more so than the partnership.
Okay. Kev, what's your thoughts, man?
Well, I apply the biblical aspect more for me as far as the helpmate, but I don't see it. I don't see how the helpmate is not a partnership. I think that most of the narratives that's on social media that they're talking about is more about finances, or who pay 50, or do we go 50-50, or who pays the most and all that. That's most of what I see is just all about finances, but that's just one aspect of the entire marriage. So I think as far as the helpmate, yeah, I align more with helpmate more than just what the modern view of partnership might be.
Cool.
Yeah, and a lot of times with partnership, people outside of your household got the same amount of influence or more influence over your woman than you do a lot of times.
I mean, that's just a
Because they
marriage in
met.
general, though. That's just a marriage in general.
You
I mean,
saying
Even
that
if
they
she
met.
that's
even
just
if
being
she grew herself as a helpmate, that still exists.
I mean, yeah, according to the dynamics of our relationship, I can see where you're going with that. Yeah, it still can exist, when somebody got more influence. But I've seen it more with the partnership talk, that they could be more loyal to the job more so to you. They could be more loyal to their influences out. A lot of times they're more out there. They're spending more time with other people more so than their husband when they speaking of partnerships, or they boyfriend when they speaking of partnerships. So that's why I'm against it.
Well, I'm confused. What you mean by other? You said other people. Like
Because
what even?
usually when people talk about partnerships, right? They usually are career people that usually talk about that. I usually don't see broke people talking about partnerships. They're usually people that have a certain level of achievement. And hold on a second. Yeah,
I ain't
usually
gonna lie.
when people
I
have
talked to a lot of broke people today, man. Coming like building up for my show. I was talking to a lot of broke people, and they were using the word partnership.
they don't even need to be using that word.
My bad.
Why not? That's what
I
I'm
say
saying.
they
Why
need to
not?
be using that word.
What you saying?
I said why not?
I mean, what are they got going to even be that worried about those phrases anyway. They just need to be trying to come up. I don't think you need to be married if you ain't even at a certain level. If you broke, you shouldn't even be worried about even being married, in my opinion. That's why I look at it like that.
But what does that have to do with being a partnership?
Because when I think of partnerships, I'm thinking of it in confines of a marriage.
Right, but
Yeah,
you're adding financial status to it. I'm like, what does that have to do with
Well,
partnership?
he asked me what I think about when I hear it. So I'm going by the way I hear it. I'm not thinking about the actual. I know it could be multiple different things that go into partnership, but when I hear people speak about it a lot, it's speaking about my career, your career. I'm not being submissive because I have my life and you have your life. That's how I typically hear it when it's being spoken of. So when I'm going by that idea.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, Capri, you good as far as your sound check?
And what I sound like?
I mean, we can hear you. What you think? What you think on the subject matter about this helpmate and partnership thing?
Um, I think a lot of people. Matter of fact, let me get into my thing because I don't even like when people say a lot of people think like this. I'm gonna think for my goddamn self. I
Talk to me.
personally think your wife can be your partner and your helpmate. A helpmate just means someone who is supporting you, who's
Mm-hmm.
helping you with your vision. And that could go the same thing with a partner. A partner can help you with your vision. A partner is just someone that you sometimes consult with. Where do we see this going? How are we going to implement this? It's just up to the man to implement those things she adds into it. Like you can be a partner and a helpmate. People is trying to do too much of this separation thing just to make it sound right. Like people are their worst enemies.
So, my thoughts. I agree with exactly what you just said. I believe that is like that helpmate is like an extension of being a partner. The problem is that when these conversations come up, a lot of these cats look at it as like kind of like how Matt was chiming into it. They look at it as like a control mechanism. Like like a lot of men feel if it's a partnership, you got too much say so what's going on. When they say help me, they figure like, yo, nah, I'm controlling the majority of what's going on. Me personally, I don't even like diving into the confusion of saying helpmate. Nigga, you a partner. Just go ahead and if a helpmate is a partner, then just say partner. Why even use the term? Because at the end of the day, the unification of coming together means y'all are making the decision to work together. Y'all have a dependency upon each other. Because if there's not a level of dependency, then you walk with an independent mind, and you need to be alone, independent. So there needs to be that dependency there if you choose to walk these paths with other people. So I always say, I think when we address the word as helpmate at itself, I think it sounds stupid. Like, nigga, you partners. Like that's what it's gonna be. You live for a partner. That's what that is. And you talk about realistically, even especially if cats want to die like financially. Dog, most of these cats, these regular jobs in which that people have are not enough to be able to support the homes in which that they have, so they need help. People need help out here. You know what I'm saying? So because people need help out here, niggas need partners. Men need partners and women need partners because things are expensive right now. Matter of fact, if y'all ain't paying attention to what's going on in the world right now, y'all niggas gonna need more help for the days that's coming. Because this
I think you
inflation
need
is
to
there.
lead.
So
I
y'all
think you
niggas
need.
need more partners than y'all realize, and y'all might not understand it, but y'all need it. So you need
I agree with
partners.
a certain level of partnership. I definitely think you need to have a lead and a follower, though.
Yeah, but
That don't mean
that's not the debatable part of the conversation about whether who leads or follows. That's a dynamic you got to discuss amongst your partnership. But
I agree with that. But you
even
asked me
when
what
you
I think.
walk through that, even when you go through the breakdown of the communication of us understanding leadership versus followership, we still got to understand that this is a partnership too. So once we
Yeah, I
understand that
agree.
this
I
is a
agree with you on
partnership,
that.
then we can dive into okay, who leads and who follows. But that's still, a symbiotic relationship amongst the people, though.
Well,
So I mean, I agree.
what's the difference between a helpmate and a partner? Because I thought it was synonymous.
Well, that's why I said I believe that a helpmate is. I said I believe personally that the helpmate is a partner. I said, but the way a lot of people typically put it, they typically look at helpmate and partners as like it's a division amongst authority. That's how when a lot of people talk about it, they look at it as like a division of authority. Like if she a partner, a lot of guys look at it like as if she has too much say so. And then they look at if she's a helpmate, like as if she don't have the certain
So they see
amount
the
of
helpmate. They see the helpmate as the help.
yeah. That's how a lot of guys, when a lot of these guys are talking, they literally view it as that. They're viewing it as like, yo, there's not a level of the authority that's there. But I believe the helpmate is a partner.
I mean, I agree with the literal definition of it, but as to the question of what do I think when I typically hear it, like I say, most people don't use it like that. So if you go by how we typically hear it, we do.
Well, the question was more so which one do you align with? It really wasn't about how you hear it typically amongst other people. It's really more so about what do you align with.
Okay, you was emphasizing that part of it. All right, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
So yeah, the question was just more so what do you align with when we hear these things and these titles.
I got what you're saying.
Everybody went on that?
Yeah, I think everybody went.
So
Yeah.
when we're having conversations, right, and we're talking about this thing of marriage and people going into it, if y'all have came across people and might have heard people say it, why do you think the reasons, and it's like I said, if you've ever heard it, that some people when they get married, they'll be like, you know what, I'm good on that. I don't really need to know. Like, what do you think of some things that could have happened that would make an individual say this was not worth it? Like this marriage joint was just not worth it. What are some of the things that y'all may have talked to people of heard that would make someone say that they don't think this marriage thing is even worth it? Caprice, I'm gonna start with
talking
you.
about that.
Go ahead.
Like marriage itself, like they'll fall into this place of saying, man, this marriage joint, this joint ain't worth it. This joint stupid. Like, what are some things you think that would make someone fall in that realm to just be like, man, you know what, bump this all together? Because I mean, there are a lot of people who say it. Like a lot of people be like, yo, I'm not doing this again. Like this is dumb. I don't really see the point. Like there are a lot of people who, after they've done it, they fall into this place. So I'm just asking, like, what are some of the things y'all think that kind of trigger people to just take on that mentality? Like, yo, I'm good on this. Let me get my randoms first, man. My randoms in this corner. Marshall, what you think, man? What are some of the reasons, man, when people go through this thing that they'll step forward and be like, you know what? I'm good on this marriage thing. I ain't gonna do this no more. But what are some of the things you think people are seeing out here that will make them take on this thought or mindset?
I've heard a couple quotes like ain't no romance without finance. Like a lot of times, I see people, I've seen talk to people who said that, like while in the marriage, people made a certain income and, unfortunate circumstances, they're not making that income anymore. Infidelity. Sometimes you can grow. You can grow on a different elevation from someone too. So I mean that could be a factor in as well. That's all I got right this second.
Okay. Caprice, what you think? I gotta get my temps first, man. Caprice, what you think, man? What do you think some things that happen, man, that'll make people fall into that mentality of saying, this right here is not worth it? I don't really hear women say it, though. I typically only tend to hear men be like, yo, I ain't doing this again. I don't really hear women. I think women are a little bit more optimistic, but tell me your thoughts. What you think?
It's a reason. It's a reason for that. But I'm gonna say it.
Am I clear?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I think the reason for that is because a lot of people go into marriage with unrealistic expectations and expect somebody to live up to that, and then when they don't, it's like, nah, this ain't what I wanted, so I'ma just exit. I think that's typically what you get. And then for those men that say that, those are men that was simping in a marriage.
The men that say what? That they won't do it again, or that they what?
Yes.
So you think the men that say they won't do it, they would actually simp in the marriage?
They was simping. They got hurt bad. They ain't go to therapy to deal with that. And they so jaded. Even people that didn't get married, that been in bad relationships, done got so jaded that everything is like all women like this, all men like this. Man, get therapy. Y'all need therapy.
I can see it. I can see it. Okay. Sound like you feel a way about that. Okay, I feel you. Izzy, talk to me, man.
I'm tired of this all women, all men, most this and most that. It's like, come on, bro. You don't even know all these women. You don't know most women. You don't know most men. Like, everybody is their own individual. Every relationship is not the same. Stop looking at it all the same just because you see the same thing on the internet. Like, man, get yourself.
Hey man, but we gotta fulfill our fantasies of being these kings and queens. I mean,
y'all
what you mean?
y'all
Like,
hoes ain't queens and y'all niggas ain't alphas.
I ain't saying no alpha. You just ready to address that. Izzy, talk to me, man. What do you think some things that are occurring that will make people fall into that mindset of saying, you know what, I ain't doing this no more. It's stupid. This marriage thing it ain't the life.
Well, I think really mainly that like some of the main things are in like the vows that we even like propose to each other. Like, sometimes like people don't know what like sickness and looks like sickness can be like, oh, like I'm not feeling good one day but I feel better, to like I'm like bedridden and like my quality of life has shifted from what you met me as, and I'm not the same person because of the sickness that I once was. And I feel like at that point, and that this is the reason why we say our vows, because it's like you have to like be strong enough to like see it through and like be committed in that relationship, because people do change constantly every day. There's things that happen to us constantly that change us as a person and develops us as a person. So I mean, in this instance I'm talking about sickness, but it could escalate from everything or anything, honestly. I just think like since we're constantly changing and it might not be as the consistency of or a quality of prisons as we once were or that you were used to. So I think that's one of the reasons why like marriages develop in the way they do.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
When people use the sickness and health thing, if you use that vow, right, would you stay in a marriage to a partner that's abusive to you after using that vow?
Well, I think the abusive side of it is actually more so towards the for better or for worse, not the sickness and health.
But it could be a mental illness of why he beating on you or she.
Well,
I get what you're saying, but
sorry.
Go ahead, Izzy. Go ahead,
I
Izzy. Do your thing.
like to put your hands on someone is a choice. You know what I mean? I don't think like I don't know any mental illness that qualifies you to be hitting people. Like it's more
alcoholism they say is a disease.
Okay, but yeah, alcohol, you could be drink, but you can drink and like, you can like cuss people out and things like that. But to put your hands on someone is a choice, whether you're under the influence or not.
I can see it.
So you trying to say that if he has a mental issue and the mental issue made him psychotic, it made him psychotic and throw you up against a wall, you gotta sit here and say for better or for worse as he's choking you. That's what you're trying to say?
If you use
or in sickness and health.
If you use those vows for better or worse, for sickness and health, if you use those vows, that's what you committed to. So you can't a person first or sickness.
But they can still choose to get divorced at that point if they want to. I mean, what?
But gotta be felon, right? Gotta be felon.
Hey, wait, Caprice. We don't know what you're saying, but I know. But basically, you chiming into the same thing that we said earlier about simply riding out the commitments in which that you made. I mean, I'm pretty sure that. I mean, that sounds like all it is that you address. If you made the commitment, sticking to it. If you didn't make, either you stick to it or you not. So I mean, I'm pretty sure that's where you was going with that. All right, Kev, talk to me, man. Talk to me. What would make somebody,
Yeah, that question threw me off. What was the question again?
What is it? What are some things that you think that, and like how we said that most men, because you was going to chime in the fact that why it's typically most men that typically go into that mindset of, you know what, I ain't doing this no more. I'm good on that. This was stupid. I'm good on that whole marriage thing. What are some things that you seen, man, that kind of trigger that?
Yeah, I think it has to do with your with the psychology of it and the mentality of, it's not even just marriage. That's just anything that you feel you can't be successful in, or that you think you're not going to be successful in after a failure, and you feel like there's no hope to be successful in it. You're going to have that mentality. I also think that I do agree with Caprice that simps do say that. Simps in marriages do say that, and part of the reason why is because they feel as though they've done so much in their marriage that there's no tangible benefit in it, so they decide not to do it no more. Which is why I say most men say it more than women, because most men feel there's no tangible benefit in it.
Well, I think most men say it because men stand to lose more than females, even if it's time with the kids. If we can take financial out of it, I think in divorces, men typically are losing something more than females. I think that's why why men are saying it. You know, I could
Well,
build a
even
family
that's
with
why I
this
say
joint.
the loss in
I
it
think
is
that's a
not
big
seeing the
assumption.
benefit.
Say that again, Kev.
I said the loss in it is not seeing a benefit. All you
Yeah,
see
but
is a loss.
I think what they feel, you can see a benefit and still feel like the loss of the situation, and the climate of the environment is more impactful than even your benefit. If somebody ain't really seeing their kids like that and they was used to staying with their kids all the time and they was used to a family, I mean, they could have not been a simp and that could have affected them the same way.
Well, yeah,
Not
but that
even.
just ties back into they just taking a loss. You're just taking a loss. Like you're affected by the loss.
Yeah, but I get that, but I'm saying that I think that has more of an impact than somebody just being a simp in the marriage. The loss of like actual
Oh, okay. You
family and
channel
stuff.
it from the whole thing about the simp part.
Yeah, when you make the point, when Caprice make the point, I guess Kev followed it up about most guys say that because of the simping aspect. I think most guys say that because they actually lose more in a relationship than a female.
Oh my god, y'all got us. All right.
So I would have. So my thoughts and opinions. I would definitely. I would agree that I think that mindset is simply developed when people are taking loss. Like how Kev said, I think that's it. That's with anything. Like usually when you're taking a loss, that's when you start questioning whether or not it was worth it, or if it's stupid or not. I mean, all the same thing. So I think that typically when things don't go as planned, a lot of men typically take on to that mentality. And because like how Matt said, that because most of the time you're typically losing. So like anything, when you're losing, you'd be like, you know what, I ain't doing this no more, because you don't want to take the losses. I think that's simply, where it is. As far as the
I
simping thing, I
also,
think it exists both.
yeah, also I wanted to answer because I just had followed up the Kev, but I would say too when people originally get married that they are more they're more into the love part more so than the responsibility part. So once you actually get into a marriage and it don't work, a lot of time people realize I'm forever changing. And if you really build marriages off of love and then you understand I'm forever changing, you're going to have an idea, why would I ever get married when people are forever changing from times on times, like especially if you don't value that responsibility part of a marriage. We just said earlier, most people value the love part of a marriage. So if you had your heart broken or you had a divorce or anything and you only value that love part of a marriage and you know I'm forever changing, you know that at some point that's going to be a confliction in the relationship.
Yeah, I just think people don't take marriage seriously. They don't take marriage seriously, don't take vows seriously, don't take dating seriously. Like none of it is serious.
Yeah, and people
So
just
I
silly
think
today.
that I feel as though, if people were more intentional with their vows, they wouldn't need prenups.
I was about to
I
say that.
agree.
I think it's more
Yeah.
so the vows not being taken serious. I think a lot of people like I think because we live in a country that's built upon this Christianity, and everybody tries to move that biblical path forward. But realistically, you ain't trying to honor those things anyway. I think we're just saying stuff just because it's cliche. Because this sounds like what we should say. Because the ancestors before us typically chose to identify themselves as this, so they're trying to carry it forward. Which realistically, you ain't about to sit through it for better or for worse. You ain't about to sit through a rich or poor. Clearly, they ain't sitting through it for rich or poor. That's the number one leading case in divorce is finances. So clearly, they're not doing that. And we clearly understand you ain't trying to die behind it. So ain't no need to say to death does part. I think people just listen. The moral to this thing is, listen, you can make your own vows. Stop trying to pretend or be something that you're not.
Exactly.
I understand cliche, but if it don't fit your life, stop doing it. If you don't believe it for better or for worse, don't say it.
That's why I say it was about tradition, and people follow tradition, and that's why I was like, don't go into it when we talk about the wedding being ceremony or whatever. Don't go into the tradition of it if you don't plan to follow the entire tradition. So if you following the tradition, if we just following, it's like there's no intentionality in any of it. You're just following traditions, and you don't even plan on really keeping it in that tradition or in that realm of what you think marriage even supposed to be. You just doing what you. I'm gonna get married and figure it out later. Figure it out later. That's pretty much what marriage is now. I'm gonna get married. Figure it out later.
Yeah, and Kev, you and KJ, you like to speak a lot about you don't give credit without actual work being done. So
that's correct.
I agree, and I agree with that. And a lot of issues come from too. If you look at when people get married, even if they are very communicative and they talk a lot before the marriage, they said like, "This is how I want the marriage to go. This is my idea." One person typically is even when they get married. One person typically is trying to follow through with that, and one person typically was just talking. It's always one person that they thought this would go differently. It's always one person that was just talking. Somebody ain't doing what they say they were supposed to do. And y'all got married before any work was actually done. They never showed no sign that this is how it's gonna go. You never saw no evidence that this is how it's gonna go, but you believed them. And a lot of marriages I hear, it always was somebody that didn't come through on what they were saying they were going to do. They were just talking. So I think that's a lot.
I mean, to echo what KFC said, dog. Listen, let me tell you something. Most people get married based upon potential and potential alone. Like that, they literally this whole thing is predicated upon potential. And that's it. So that's why. So then when it fails, that's why you get the people who are jaded. That's why you get the people who are then like, no, I'm good. I ain't doing this no more. But they be like, yeah, this is stupid. But that's why I believe. That's why it's like we approach this at the psychology of it, because realistically, you kind of got to have the proper mindset going into it. It's not really like we're going through this development once we're there. And even though most people typically are only, echoing their failures. Like a lot of people who are married, and one of the reasons why they seem so insightful, because they just telling you, yeah, I'm telling you right now, I know for a fact I failed. You know what I'm saying? The people who already got the divorce, they just took that one. I'm telling you right now, I know for a fact this is where I failed. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you got to have a certain mentality going into it. That's why we're discussing the psychology.
Let me ask you a question right quick. I know you don't want to go 2 hours too much. I'm just asking a question. It could be a yeah or no answer. If you got married with a female and the big thing was y'all having kids, because I had this happen on the show recently, and during the marriage you found out she can't have kids, or she finds out he can't have kids. If you married this woman for I ain't gonna say for sickness or for health, but you married her for other intangibles, that was a big intangible for you, would you get divorced with that female?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm with them on the yes. What you think, girl? Would you get out that thing? You want some babies? You can't have no babies.
I mean, yes, because you're gonna be resentful if you don't.
I agree. But I brought it up because I saw it.
I know the exact show you're talking about.
And they clown that female for saying that, right?
And I say yes because my intention of marrying you was predicated on that as well.
Yeah, exactly. That's a big one. That's a big one.
All right, guys.
I'm sorry, but when you said you don't give credit unless work is shown. How is that not true?
I think you're talking to you, Kate. You're talking to me because I asked Kate. I was rephrasing something KJ usually say.
Yeah, because I mean, it just sounds true. So what makes it? So you saying that to where you think people don't believe that to be true?
No,
I
I'm
think he
saying
agreed, though.
I think what he's saying is like some people, like he's saying like he don't give it credit unless like the work is shown, but some people give credit just off potential. Like
yeah, pretty
I
much.
Yeah,
see
but
this in
but
him.
but
I
what
know
Matt
they
said,
keep it.
Matt said he agreed with that concept too, though. He was always saying, because I always say that. I was like, yo, I don't believe in giving credit until you actually have seen something that's there. I don't believe in credit and potential. But I think Matt said he agreed with that idea, though.
Yeah, and,
Yeah,
and
but
like
no, but Kevin was asking how
Yeah,
could it not be true?
yeah, I knew he
I
agreed
put
with it. I
But
was
I
just
know
saying,
that's
how
what
can
I'm
it not
addressing,
be?
because nobody said the opposite side. That's why I was trying to address that. Nobody said that they didn't go, you know what I'm saying, share the sentiment.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
oh,
but
you
there are a
asked me
lot of
how
people.
could
Like I said, that's why I brought up the thing about marriage, that most people build this thing off of potential. So most people aren't crediting anything but the words and the
yeah,
stuff that people say.
because when we talk about having a slick tongue, or they call it the gift of gab, you know, a lot of people do fall for that without no actual work being shown. A lot of people are seduced by people's words. You know, that's one way it could not be true. And people do give credit based on how the person made them feel when they was explaining it to them or when they was presenting it to them. A lot of influences come through words and presentation.
Have you ever fell victim to that?
Words and presentation as far as what I've never been married, but you're talking about like just in any situation.
Just a relationship.
Not really. Most of the time, I kind of had an idea that the female that told me something was foolish. I never fully believed the female when they was telling me something, but I fall victim to I wanted it to happen. But I've never fully believed the female just because she's saying it. It was just my ignorance of trying to change a female.
Okay.
Interesting.
Oh man, people, this right here, this wasn't too painful, was it, guys?
Yeah,
Hopefully
this
after
was a
this
good ass show,
conversation,
actually.
all y'all are married next year.
I doubt it. Doubt it.
Yeah.
You know, we're inspired
I
to go
want to
ahead.
go. I want to go more into what he just said about trying to change a female. But
I
know that's a different show. I know it's a different show. I
was going. What's crazy is before you said that, I could tell how you want to. You didn't want the show to end. I was like,
Yeah.
He want to keep talking a little bit. I mean, I'm sure you could go over a little bit, Kev.
Listen. I don't have no problems. Listen. I'm one of the people. I like to stay respectful of the panel. If you want to dive into this concept of changing people, we can most definitely do. I'm here to please.
Somebody want to fall out, let them fall out.
All right, we're gonna keep this thing rolling, y'all. So that was the end of our build on this marriage thing. But we want to dive into this kind of like after hours. You know what I'm saying? We want to dive into this whole concept about the changing people. I think we kind of
y'all talked about this on y'all show one time about trying to change.
I was just about to bring that up. I was about to say we kind of glimpsed over this whole idea, and there was a little bit of discourse on this within the other show about the idea of changing people. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that was the last show, matter of fact, that we dived into this. So since Matt since Kev wanted to address it, Kev, talk to us, man. How you wanna go about this joint, man? About this change.
I just thought it was interesting that the mindset of trying to change, of going into the relationship trying to change her, was the intention. I just thought that was interesting. I don't feel it.
That's more so from Matt.
I don't feel it.
It's
It's just blurry, but I'm
just blurry.
I don't know why it's doing it. It always does when I come.
Matt, go into that, man. The idea of you going into it trying to change it, man. What's up with that?
Well, he was about to ask for context, but Caprice talked over. What you were saying?
The idea of you going into it trying to change her. What's up with that? Why do that?
Okay, I got you. I definitely think at that point in my life, it comes from not being used to getting a lot of attention from a certain type of female. So when you do get that attention from a certain type of female, you're like, damn, I want to make this work with this chick as far as me personally, or like I can say the potential. KJ say the potential. She shows certain potential qualities about her that I do admire, and those qualities are rare to find from certain females. So it's like I feel like I have a better chance of changing the qualities I don't like than finding those qualities in another female. Cause like it happened with me one time when it says that a female 26, she's college educated, beautiful, natural hair, work out all the time, no kids. She literally got all those intangibles that's hard to find. So me getting caught up into that, it's like, okay, she got a bad attitude, but let me try to work with that because most people got a bad attitude, but I can't find those other qualities in the female that in one package. So that's how I got caught up in it.
So you were trying to change her attitude.
Yeah, which is the attitude. The other stuff she was on point. It was just the attitude of the female.
Oh, gotcha. See, this change a person thing, man. I can't get into it because it's like you can't change. It's like you can change or you can influence the change in a person, but you can't just directly change them.
That's what I was giving to on the last episode. But I know them dealing with you, like how you say, there's going to be some change. But typically, what you're trying to change about them isn't what's going to change. You know, I definitely agree with that. And I learned my lesson about that. You can't, especially those core of who a person is. A lot of the times when we try to change a person, it's trying to change the core of them. You might change a quality here and there or something, a hobby or something, but the core.
But I think
you don't think that idea in itself sounds stupid? That you trying to change the core of a person? You don't think that's extreme stuff?
No, I agree.
Like, nigga, you trying to change the core, nigga? Like, come on, dog. Like, if we trying to tap into the core, nigga, like you might just need to be moving on to another chick. Like,
that's what I'm saying. I agree with that now. Yeah, it ain't gonna work. You're trying to change the core because this is who they are. This is how they belief system. They've been raised to believe this. They've been raised to believe this.
Because when I hear somebody say they trying to change it, when they trying to get to the core of you, that sounds like a person who said, "I'm trying to eliminate everything you learned in your damn life, and I'm trying to start you from where I need you to be." Because we talking about the core, like dog, like the core. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm trying to take away. I'm trying to like get into everything from your upbringing all the way up to now. That seems extreme to me.
Yeah.
I guess my question though is how did that go? Like you try to change her attitude. In what way were you doing that, or what? Like, how did you go about that? I mean, obviously it wasn't successful.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's more like having deep conversations with them, just trying to understand who they are and show them like the downfalls of what they believe in based on how I believe they should be operating to get a better result. Also, just a lot of times it's a battle. You know, it ain't even something being done. It's you just trying to get them to understand first, and that understanding from the start is going to be a big issue. Because you're not even going to get to step 2 and step 3 because they ain't even trying to hear what you say a lot of times from the beginning. As far as like I kept say trying to change the core of a person, they're going to be against that. You know, but
yeah, you trying to transform somebody, like
that's why I'm like, oh, yeah. When you say core, man, it's like you trying to like that's crazy.
Yeah, because when I was listening to the show,
well, maybe not. Maybe I'm using. I'm gonna let you feel, but maybe I'm using the wrong word when I say core. But like, change certain qualities about them. I get what y'all saying. When you think of core, I'm not trying to change who they are, like as far as they personality, but just certain decisions.
You just talking about certain qualities. You just talking about certain qualities.
Yeah, that's what I said. Maybe those qualities.
But those qualities can be attached to their core.
I know, and that's why I kind of conflicted with that. But that's what I'm thinking. So if a person is like, if they're like, say example, they like to but I see what you're saying, because most things can be somewhere attached to their core. Because if they party a lot, and in their core they're a natural energetic person, and outgoing personality, that you can attach that to their core as well.
Yeah, I don't feel like you can change somebody's core. You can influence change. You can influence them to want to change themselves, but you directly. It's kind of like, because when I was listening to the show, and you was talking more from a transformational standpoint, trying to change them from the inside out, and then they were talking more so just from the act of change. I kind of looked at it like if you look at H2O and then you go from ice to water, that is a change, but it's the core is still H2O regardless. That's not going to change unless you add an element.
But
I think
that
that's
you kind of on my side with that then, because that's what I was saying. Like you not changing. They were speaking on like how you said.
No. If you listen to what he just
no,
said,
they
what
were
he just
speaking. They
said
were
was
speaking.
speaking to the direct, just changing itself.
Yeah, the
Yeah, but
His
change
whole
in
example
itself.
was
also,
just that.
but he also made the point that it's still water, and that's what I was saying. Yeah, you could change when you're dealing with a person. It might be some change from them dealing with you, but you still haven't really influenced change. If I'm talking about like how you said on the
Yeah,
transformation aspect.
but he said that but he was commenting to the point that it still is change.
Yeah, he was playing. He's speaking on both parts. As far as like how y'all was saying, it still is change because there was some change, but it's still water, and that's kind of what I was hitting it from that standpoint. Like a person still, you haven't really changed a person if you haven't changed like something they really like the core of them or something that's really deep or how they even moving through their life. Like just them doing something they don't do no more because they met you. I don't really see that as like a big change, but based on how y'all, it is a change. Literally, it's a change that happened.
So let me get my girl Izzy. Let me get my girl Izzy.
Yeah, I was about to ask
Izzy, I don't
Izzy.
know if I don't know if you had watched Monday's show, but the last question that we build on, we were talking about the actuality versus reality show. The last question that we build on was can you change people? And like the whole conversation that we were just having was centered around that. So I guess since you weren't there, I guess the first question I guess I would ask you was, do you believe you can change a person? Before we go further.
I think I don't I think you can influence them to like, change certain aspects about themselves to adjust to the situation that you guys are building together. But all in all, I don't think so. Like, I don't think you can really like change a person for who they are. A lot of the times when people like, let's say in an aspect of a relationship, when people come into a relationship, they kind of have like, this like, I guess like this edited version of themselves, but who they actually are is gonna like come through at the end of the day. Wherever you go, there you are. So who you are as a person is gonna like peek through all in all. I think you can influence people to like change like certain like different aspects about themselves, but all in all, like I don't think so. Like like I don't think you can change like someone who like what their favorite color is, let alone like or change the type of music I mean, like you can influence them to like more things, but what they like and like who they are is who they are.
Yeah, I think the only thing of discourse when with this topic of changing people is
The
that
levels.
there are people when they hear change, they look at change as definite. You know what I'm saying? So like even with the show, you have us like a few of us are addressing it just from a literal point of view. Like a change is change. You know what I'm saying? But that doesn't mean you have to change them completely. Like a person can change as far as adaptation and then change right back. Like you're talking about habitatal change. Like you can change to fit a certain area and then go to another area and then you can resort back to the other thing. Like it's still change. I think a lot of people just when they hear change, they thinking like, oh, they got to completely make a transformation. Because when you talk completeness, you're talking about a transformation. A transformation is change, but it's not that we're like that's just an aspect of it. Like some people address it when they hear it, they think completely they have to transform. And then
I also think
I know me and Caprice were just more so addressing the side that dog change is change. It doesn't have to be a complete transformation. It's still change nonetheless, though.
I also think I look at it as this as well too, because some people they look at change as if you're not doing it no more, you change. I believe you can have a change in a pattern of behavior, but still not change. Because let's say example, one of your cousins that we say go through a lot of shit. If I'm with him all the time and he's around me, and I'm getting him away from situations, and I'm keeping him around me. But as soon as he get back away towards somebody else, he goes back to that. He never really changed. I just moved him from an environment and kept him away from it. It still was always in him, So you can keep somebody
But
away
that,
from
but
something that don't mean they
that's so
change.
you're speaking to what I like exactly what I said. You're speaking
But
to
that is change.
a habitatal change,
That's
which is
that is
still a change.
That's a
Some
change in
people just
behavior.
can't
Well,
let
you're
That's
go
not
that
a
it
change.
has to be a completeness of it. It
Let's see
doesn't
what
have
well,
to
are
be
you
a
David said.
talking
completeness
about
of it. It's still a change.
are you talking about the personality or actual like like everything?
Well,
Because
if okay, say we'll do it like this.
If a person do
Say
crack and
if
they go
I
to
came across
jail and
a
they can't do
woman,
crack no
right?
more,
Say
do
if
they
I came across a
change?
woman,
And he come home and immediately hit the pipe?
she's not into cooking, she's not into doing all this other stuff like that, right? But while she with me, she doing all this now. She cooking, she doing all the top-notch freaky stuff that I like to do with sex that she ain't been doing none of that with the rest of these niggas. I don't know what they been doing, but she ain't been doing none of that with them niggas. She doing everything that I like women. And then we end up breaking up. And then she goes back the same way. She ain't cooking for these niggas no more. She ain't performing in the bedroom no more. She still changed. She changed and adapted to fit her situation, and then she went right back. But it's still a change. People look at it
well,
like
I say
if you say change, you just change completely. Change is not
well,
always complete. You can change for situation.
yes, I agree with that, but it's like, that you I feel like, because she knows how to cook, that was a part of her personality originally, because she cooked for you, or she chose to cook for you, that might be like something like new to her, but she kind of always knew how to cook, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's
So
not the
it's
question.
like,
The question is the behavior, though. It's not a question of can she cook. It's is she cooking or is she not cooking?
I think what we're
Not
talking
a
about
question of
is
can she do it. Yes, of course she can cook, but the question is behavior. Is she cooking or is she not cooking? She's cooking now in the relationship, and then she's not cooking. So it's not it had got nothing to do with can she do it. Is she doing it? Because
I
the
think
change
what
is
we're
with the
talking about
behavior.
is I think what we're talking about is an exception. Like an exception is just a temporary change.
Yes.
So we can make it. I think people go into relationships making exceptions for people without
Yes.
really thinking of making a permanent change.
Yes. It's a habitatal change. That's what a habitatal change is. You go into it, yo, because we in this house and what I do for him or what I do for her, I'm changing for the habitat. But then, of course, if I leave the habitat, then I have to adjust with whatever it is. I mean, that's all it
I
is.
think,
It's
I think, I
habitatal.
think, I mean, I agree with what y'all saying. I think I'm just like looking at it, like how y'all say, a little deeper, because I'm looking at changes that's no longer part of the person more so than
Yeah,
just a
you
behavioral
looking at
temporary
a
change.
complete transformation. You're looking at it
Yeah.
from a complete transformation side.
Yeah, because if somebody like if you was a hothead, if you was hot headed and you a fighter, and you start fighting for a certain time period because you're in another environment, you're still a fighter at heart. Now it may be a temporary change because you're not maybe as short tempered as you was before, but you're still a fighter. If somebody tried it, you still have that in you. But there was
Yeah, because that's because you're literally addressing it from a total type
I
of
know I'm
change.
looking at
That's why.
a deeper level.
Yeah, you looking at it as a complete transformation.
Matt, I got a question. Would you want somebody to change for you?
No. No, I wouldn't want nobody to change for me. Now I want to get somebody that's kind of already, as far as a relationship. If you're speaking in general, if I'm like a teacher or influence people, I would definitely want them to change. Like if I'm teaching some kids or something or nieces and nephews. But as far as a relationship, two grown people, now I don't want no grown person to change for me. I want them to be already there.
Yes, I do. Don't you treat me like you treat the rest of them niggas. Change for me. I don't need you to change as far as totality, but no, I want you to change. I want you to understand the habitat. Adjust yourself for the habitat. You damn right you better change for me. You approach it like you approach the rest of them niggas if you want to. Yes, change for me. You might not listen. You might not want to perform and do it and give them other niggas that freaky side. I want the slut out of you. I need that change. I want you to be the slut for me. I want to change. Don't give me that vanilla shit you gave them old punk ass niggas or whatever the niggas you was talking to before. I want to change. Now, if we break up, you can go back to being whoever it was you was before. But as far as our circumstance, I want to change. If I'm a person who I value that, I need you to be cooking. If that's not your thing, I want to change. I want to eat. I want to change. Yes. This is stupid. Yes. And I think the same thing goes for both sides. If it's certain things that she feel that needs to happen today, you should want to change for you. Because I'm not trying to change your core, but I do want you to understand the habitat. Because adaptation is a part of evolution. So you have to adapt.
I mean, if you change and it benefits me, that's great. But I'm not going into it looking for somebody to try to change. You know,
I want you to change for me. I want it. Yes.
What if they already do everything you like from the start with, and you don't even need to change?
Then it don't matter. I don't need you to change it.
Yeah,
You already where I needed to be. But
That's all I'm saying.
Like with somebody who they
That's all I'm saying. I'm looking for somebody to already be what I need them to be from the gate.
But what you gotta understand is sometimes though you ain't gonna cross the person who's just already there. Sometimes it takes people that just have to adapt. It's just like when we had the show about the negotiables and non-negotiables. You can have these things that you stand on, but guess what? Sometimes you have to negotiate and you have to make a shift.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a change that is required. You don't want a chick with kids, but guess what? If you fail enough, you're gonna make a change.
Yeah.
You might not want to make the change, but you're gonna make the goddamn change because you're gonna be tired of sleeping alone at night. Yes, in your core, you might still say, damn, I don't want a woman with kids. But you're gonna be like, damn, fuck it. I'd rather hear a little nigga crying in the other room. I just need some companionship. I need some comfort. You gonna make a change. A lot of times change happens whether you want it or not. But I understand how powerful this change is. So I need you to adapt. I ain't shying away from that. No, I need you to adapt. Period. And if you're not willing, well, let's just go ahead and bypass each other. So, because I don't look at it from a
What'd you say, Caprice?
complete transformation.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Caprice? Oh, never mind.
You know,
Yeah, I'm looking at it as a complete transformation.
you know. So when we talk about change, we Caprice, whatever Caprice got going on, we need her to change. I don't know if it's the internet provider or whatever the technological thing you use. We need her to change. But still my girl nonetheless. All right, people. We done got to the end of this thing. Of course, we ran this thing a little extensive. We had a couple more things we wanted to get off our hearts. I think it was a good show. Was it too painful, y'all? It wasn't too painful, was it?
Nah, that was great. Hey, that last question.
Yeah, I don't like how you was talking
yes
about
or
me
no
when I'm
answer.
on camera. Like, don't do that. If you guys say me, you say me when I'm on camera.
Who said anything?
I'm gonna say you gonna give me the question?
Kevin.
Who said anything?
Yeah,
Nobody
bro.
brought your name up.
Well, not you say yes or no answer, then you stop.
No, I thought she jumped back in and said something though. I thought y'all was about to answer that. Yeah, I was saying if somebody like how we use the fighting, if somebody's a violent person, right, and they've been in a lot of altercations, and now they getting no altercations, but they just take their anger out in the gym. They always punching bags, throwing weights around in their backyard or whatever. Are they still a violent person?
To be a violent person is the act of invoking violence would be simply the act of saying within any situation to apply the violence. But it would be a change in them if their normal behavior was to just start punching people in their damn face. That now they redirected that energy towards the craft of the martial arts. That would be a change because they changed from beating niggas up in the street to now focusing that energy in the gym. So that would be a change. Now, as far as this concept of being a violent person, violent is just if you choose to enact violence. I know cats who they are non-violent, and non-violent means even if a man could be beating their face in, they will not fight back. That's what non-violence is. I know in the realms of violence, we get sidetracked that some people think that saying you non-violent means you won't start a situation. But even if I defend myself, that is an act of violence. So, I don't really see, it really don't matter whether you choose to deem them as a violent person or not. You know what I'm saying? But I think that the fact that they choose to channel that energy in something else versus beating people up, that is a change though.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, I wasn't even talking about
Stop
change. I ain't
trying
gonna
to
go into
change
too much.
But man, so before y'all give y'all plugs, I need us to finish right here. material. Hey man, this book might help it better you off. Maybe you might be more suitable for marriage, people.
Find a new you,
You know,
even after
it might,
the marriage.
yeah. I
Even
mean,
after
you
the
might
marriage.
need it during and after. You might need it for all the steps.
Yeah.
But since we started that way, Kev, run your plug, man. Of
So
course, we
what?
see the
You like
book.
a
What you
life
got?
coach?
Yeah, pretty much. Mm-hmm.
Kev, run your plug, man.
Kevin's Perspective, Vocal Visions Network, every week. Tune in.
Most definitely. Izzy, run your plug.
So you guys can follow me at IzzyOjo94 on Instagram. So hit that follow button.
I ain't even gonna go to the bottom. My man Mac, he's coming
Thank
soon. Caprice, you gotta find my twin on Humble Beginnings, because that's the only way you gonna find my twin. Of course, just like Kev say, you know what I'm saying, the Vocal
Yeah,
Visions
don't try
Network,
to do no searching
Beginnings,
either.
Humble Beginnings, Kevin's Perspective, man, the Vocal
My
Visions
name.
Network, man, we building, everything is just growing. And listen, man, a lot of content coming your way. We just doing what we do. So, until the next time, guys, we're out.
Peace out.